Welcome back to American Knock Radio on the Stu Peters Network, and just about anywhere you look on the internet, we're there. And we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I announced it on the show yesterday. Dr. Peter Glidden has been my friend for a very long time, and the friendship that I've gotten out of this arrangement is knowing this man came along at a time in my life when I believe that your advice saved my life, Dr. Glidden. I don't think I would be very functional right now without you. And not only that, but you were the kind of the progenitor of American Knock Radio, is because I was hosting your show on Genesis Communications back in the day. And they got a bunch of email. People were saying, hey, we want to hear more of this Mike Phillip guy. For the life of me, I don't know why, but they did. And we've got you back, and I'm just so happy to have you here today and get your face and voice and knowledge in front of new people. How you doing there, Doc?
Best day of my life so far, man. It's all good. It's all good, man. I appreciate it very much.
Excellent. You've never seen me in a suit before, have you?
I never have.
All kinds of new stuff going on. Hello from Bob Teagarden in Pittsburgh. He's one of your insider people, I believe, and has been using your therapeutics for probably about a year or two now. And there's a lot of other people in the chat on Rumble watching. And I also have put it out there that we can take a few questions near the end. Dr. Glidden, you are an expert in non-drug and surgical medical recoveries. I have an insider account to you. Back in the day, I was addicted to your work. Like I would be at a party and I would leave early because you had a live Q&A on. I had to be there and just soaking it up like a sponge, all of your advice, because the way you would tackle a tackle, I just made up a new word. It's attack and tackle. The way you tackle disease, or just, a breakdown in bodily function, is so different than the way that most people do. And the way that people think about health and their approach to the medical industry, what information that they take in. People have been very much programmed by the modern medical system for a lot of years now. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Go back to the beginning of your career, the things that you've seen, and all the times you've almost been thrown in jail, and everything in between. Go ahead, Doc.
Well, okay. I appreciate the platform, and I apologize in advance if I grandstand a little, because I tend to be stream of consciousness. So I'm a naturopathic physician. In the U.S., to become a naturopathic doctor, in Canada, it's 4 years pre-med, 4 years naturopathic medical school, 1,000 hours of clinical supervision. You got to pass national boards. You got to pass state boards. You got to get a license. You got to do 25 hours of continuing education. It's full-blown primary care. However, in the U.S., it's only licensed and regulated in 24 states. And if I was to practice naturopathic medicine in Tennessee, it's a felony. In Florida, it's a misdemeanor. So we don't have medical freedom. We haven't had medical freedom for over 100 years, and it's killing us. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. The naturopathic medicine imperative and the foundation understanding of naturopathic medicine is that we attempt to cure the condition. So, for instance, if you were to come to me with high blood pressure, instead of just throwing drugs at it and then more drugs, because the first drugs that we used didn't work, or they worked, but then they failed, and then a third drug because the second drug also started to fail, and then having to give you more drugs to manage the side effects of those first three drugs. And meanwhile, the root cause of the problem is never fixed. And then in the United States, you go bankrupt and then you die because, wait for it, the leading cause of death in the United States is medical treatments, MD-directed medical treatments, and the leading cause of bankruptcy is medical bills. So instead of doing all of that nonsense, the naturopathic doctor would attempt to figure out why you have high blood pressure and fix it. We attempt to cure the condition. And this comes as a revelation for most people, because most people are mistakenly of the opinion that the MD is attempting to cure their condition, but the medical doctors are not trained to cure your condition. As a matter of fact, it should be against the law for a medical doctor to advertise that they practice healthcare, because they don't. They practice disease management. There's a big difference between disease management and healthcare, and sometimes disease management is just what the doctor ordered. But for most of the conditions that most people go to the doctor for most of the time, the pharmaceutical method is the wrong method, as evidenced by the chronic health disease epidemic that we've been inside of for the last 50 years. Alzheimer's is through the roof. Autism is through the roof. Third of the United States population, both children and adults, are obese. Just as many people get heart disease now as they did before the advent of statin drugs to a $20 billion a year price tag. Just as many people get arthritis, type 2 diabetes. Chronic disease is rising. It's not falling. Billions of dollars of research given to the medical doctors and the pharmaceutical industry, and they've come up with nothing. And it's not because they're bad people. It's not because they're sadistic. Some of them are. I've met a couple of sadistic medical doctors, by the way. But most are, just nice, good people who are trying to do the best. But the medicine that they're trained in is not curative. The medicine that they're trained in doesn't even attempt to cure the condition. And another revelation for people is that most of the conditions that people go to the MD for, the medical doctor has no idea what caused the condition. They don't even know what causes heartburn, for goodness sakes. Have no idea what causes arthritis, have no idea what causes depression. So it is impossible for them to cure it. So instead of curing it, they do the only thing that they can, which is medicate it, suppress it, manage it, kick the can down the road. And, that's going to have net negative effects over time. And this is a gigantic freaking problem. And the only reason that medical mediocrity like this exists, and it is medical mediocrity, for lack, it is. The only reason it exists is because of the monopoly that keeps it in place. It's a self-policing, self-regulating medical mafia that's been in place for over 113 years now. And it prohibits any other type of doctor from getting a seat at the table. So the chiropractors are kicked out of the medical bus. The homeopaths are kicked out of the medical bus. The naturopathic doctors are kicked off the medical bus. The acupuncturists, the Ayurvedic practitioners, everybody who's not an MD has been painted through a remarkably effective propaganda campaign over the last 100 years to be a back-of-the-bus quack with substandard dangerous training, and that's a lie. The only people practicing quack medicine in this country have MDs after their name, and I can prove that. The most important thing that anybody can do to secure their health moving forward is to fire their medical doctor immediately and only use them for trauma care and surgery when it's absolutely necessary. Oh, you have a bullet in your arm, heaven forbid, go to the MD. You break your leg skiing, have a bleeding femoral artery, go to the MD. Get your leg blown off in Iran, go to the MD. They'll save your freaking life because that's what they're good at. But for everything else, it's a shit show, and you should avoid them. And seek out alternatives which attempt to cure the condition, and, oh, by the way, which have been developed and delivered by licensed physicians. Alternatives to the pharmaceutical method exist. You just don't know about them because it's bad for business. Because remember, in the immortal words of John D. Rockefeller, one of the architects of the medical monopoly, a patient cured is a customer lost. So that's what gets me out of bed every morning, Mike, is to deliver self-help health recovery information via my website and my books that everybody can gain access to, and from the comfort of their own home, learn what to do to help their body recover. You've got asthma, point and click. Your kid's got an earache, point and click. You've got rheumatoid arthritis, point and click. And one of the things that we've been lied to about is that healing the body or learning about things medical is like really complicated, and only the straight A students with the pen caddies can figure that shit out. That's a lie. Surgery is complicated. I don't recommend that anybody try to, do a Google Home course on surgery and try to remove your kid's appendix. That's a bad idea. But if you're smart enough to pass the driver's license test, you're smart enough to learn what to do to help your body get over most chronic ailments. And I line it all up on my website and my book.
Absolutely. I was you mentioned that medical freedom has been suppressed for almost 100 years in the United States, but this is something that goes way back. I was reading about medical discoveries and just how it goes ahead so very slowly. Well, one dead doctor at a time, to quote a mutual friend. But back in the 15 and 1400s, a man that believes the same as myself came up with that the heart pumps blood through the body. Well, the Vatican had him killed, burned to death at the stake, and they burned all of his work with him because the Vatican was only making you were only allowed to cover the works of a man named Galen, which was a doctor to gladiators way back in the day. So this is not a new thing. The other thing too, when you're not functioning properly, you can't think properly. Your judgment is off. You're not going to have good judgment from situation to situation. So I mean, the other thing too, if you had a population that was actually healthy and thinking straight, it would most likely reduce crime. It would reduce addiction. It would reduce poverty. It would, you would see just a better world, basically, if people knew more about how to manage their own health. And I mean, that's freedom, is having the right knowledge. The Bible talks about walking in the counsel of the ungodly. It talks about men being inventors of evil things. I mean, talk a little bit about, I mean, you've talked about Vioxx, you've talked about, talk about being an inventor of evil things. I mean, these companies come up with stuff that they just push through the FDA. They don't test. And even if they do test it and find harm, they find a way to rubber stamp it anyway. Talk to that a little bit.
Well, by pharmakia are all nations deceived, and my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. And there's an entire system in place that's been in place for over 100 years to keep the population dumbed down, to keep the population undernutrified, to feed the population foods that are pro-inflammatory. And when all of these things come together, people can't think straight, and they don't, they don't have enough time to think straight, and they just trust what's going on, right? Yep. People don't have time to figure this stuff out. They got a 9-to-5 job. And then after the 9-to-5 job, they have another, 7 to midnight job just in order to keep food on the table, because the 9-to-5 job didn't pay enough. And plus, nobody's smarter than a fifth grader anymore. And even the education that a fifth grader gets isn't sufficient to the cause. You want to know how bad it is? I'll give you an example. In Canada, they take money out of your paycheck, whether you want to or not, for healthcare, which isn't really healthcare, but it's medical treatments. In the US, people have to pay out of their pocket for medical insurance, and everybody does. So either in Canada or in the US, you are paying a small fortune over the course of your life for medical insurance. Now, what does your medical insurance give you access to? Does it give you access to chiropractic medicine or homeopathic medicine or naturopathic medicine or Ayurvedic medicine or traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture? No. It only gives you access to MD-directed pharmaceutical centrist medicine and surgical procedures. And while you're under the care of these people, paying handily for it every month, by the way, you got sick. And no warning bells went off, no red lights went off. You didn't question that. People didn't put 2 and 2 together and say, wait a minute, I'm paying all this money for medical care. And while I've been having medical care, I got arthritis, I got heart disease, I got congestive heart failure. My kid is autistic. My father has Alzheimer's. What the hell is going on? I want a freaking refund. Nobody says that. Why does nobody say that? Because we're all dumbed down. And then, to make matters worse, the medical people under whose tutelage and care you got sick by have no idea what caused your problem. They have no idea what to do to fix the problem. All they can do is throw a drug at it or sign you up for surgery. And that just manages the problem, making you sicker and weaker over time. And then something else happens, and then that gets managed, and you get sicker and weaker over time. And then something else happens, and then you die. I mean, in North America, we're lucky if we make it to 80 years of age. 80 years of age. And let me tell you something, the last 30 years of that life aren't that great for most people, right? They've got hearing aids, they've got dentures, they've got fake lenses in their eyes, they've got fused vertebrae in their neck. They've got 3 fake knees. They've got 2 fake hips. They need a prescription medicine to pee, a prescription medicine not to pee, a prescription medicine to fall asleep, a prescription medicine to wake up, or prescription medicine for the pain. And then when the pain gets so bad and the prescription medicine stop working, the doctor can't write the script anymore. So now you're out on the street looking for fentanyl. For goodness sakes, it's a crap show from start to finish, but people still love their medical doctors. Honest to God, Mike, outside of professional baseball, it's the only profession where people can fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and still keep a job, right?
Interesting analogy with professional baseball there. I happen to be a Cubs fan, so I totally get it. And what you said, like, and when I was hosting on your show, I'm not a doctor, right? I didn't really want to be giving people advice. I mean, you've given people some boilerplate, easy things that they can do, and so somebody like me could tell somebody or give them a general direction to go in, but it was a thing where. I was studying differences in medical systems, and the fact that I live in Canada, I'm a U.S. citizen and 4th generation Albertan. I have a front row seat to both ends of the spectrum of just how healthcare is collected on and delivered, and it's interesting because my brother in Idaho, they had 2 kids since they moved down there. 20 grand to have a child, 8 grand if you go to a midwife. Here, you would just go in and go out. But the fact is you've been paying for it already for the rest of your life, right? So like there's no real difference. It's just at that point of delivery.
Right.
And not only that, but a lot of Americans think that the Canadian healthcare system is magic, like Papa Smurf, like you just walk on down and get better. But what's happening now, Dr. Glidden, is that the medical care system in Canada is cratering, and it's cratering bad. I mean, it was in bad shape when I was hosting your show. Back when I was hosting your show 15 years ago, they were already triaging people in the halls because they didn't have enough room, and they were rooms, and they were behind on everything. And now I have a relative that has a friend that's a nurse in a major metro hospital. They have to get a translator to do anything because you've got people speaking 60 different languages, cultures that don't look after their kids once they're born. And the hospitals now, compared to I saw somebody took a picture of just an elevator in a waiting room at a major hospital in Edmonton, Alberta, and it's full of homeless people, needles, people, garbage in the elevators. It's extremely unsanitary. It's extremely it's just going down. So like, here's the thing: you need to learn to do these things at home. And might I add, if you need to recover from something, Dr. Glidden can help you speed up that process. But the time to think about your health is not when you get sick. It's you develop habits with what you eat, what you don't eat, and what you just, supplement with on a daily basis before you get sick. Our mutual friend, Dr. Jonathan Emord, went to the United States Supreme Court, beat the FDA just to get a qualified health claim that taking omega-3s every day reduces the risk of heart disease by like 60%. And they want you to know that. They don't want to tell. I mean, shoot, you can get omega-3 fatty acids at Walmart and take them every day if you need to. And it's just, these are really simple things. This things that Dr. Glidden brings to the table are things that, quite frankly, we should have learned in grade 4 health. Dr. Glidden.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things that I want to make a distinction about here, Mike, and everything you said is true. But the problem in Canada, there's 2 things going on here. It's a bureaucratic problem, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a problem with delivery. And that is a completely separate and distinct thing from the type of medicine itself that's delivered. I mean, even if that bureaucratic problem did not exist, and, there were 5 times as many doctors and nurses, there were 10 times as many hospitals, and they were all staffed, and there was no waiting time, and everything was hunky-dory, the treatments delivered would still be bad.
Yeah.
Because the medical doctors aren't trained to cure anything. They don't know what causes heartburn. They don't know what causes high blood pressure. They don't know what causes arthritis. They don't know what causes fibromyalgia. They don't know what causes infertility. They don't know what causes anxiety and panic. They don't know anything about these things, and they have no idea what to do to cure them, because from their point of view, a cure is not possible. And now here's a eye-opening realization for most people, that your medical doctor, when they go to work, is an atheist, because the medicine that they practice is materialistic and reductionistic. It's based on Newtonian physics. And Newtonian physics argues if it can't be measured, it doesn't exist. So your MD is taught that consciousness itself is a function of biochemistry, that there's no such thing as life after death. There's no such thing as a vital force. There's no such thing as a spiritual indwelling intelligence. There's no such thing as God or the afterlife. All that's fictitious because it's never been measured. It's never been proven objectively to be real. Therefore, it doesn't exist. So all of their therapeutics are built around that perspective, which is incorrect. And that's why their treatments fail, because they have an incorrect understanding of the nature of the human being and the nature of disease. They're like colorblind artists who don't know that they're colorblind. Every single time that they paint a picture, it's going to be wrong. It might look like your family, it might look like your mother and your brother, but wait a minute, my mother doesn't have gray skin. My brother doesn't have green skin and red hair. Well, what's going on here, right? The only time they get it right in this analogy is when they paint in black and white. And that in this tortured analogy, that's when they do surgery, because that's the epitome of reductionism, right? Surgery and trauma care, they're good at that. But this is a very important point to understand. Your medical doctor may be the nicest person that God ever created and the most well-intended human being ever. They might have a very compassionate, open heart. They might work for Doctors Without Borders. They might give half of their salary to charity. Who knows? But the medicine that they are trained in is wrong. It's incorrect. It's based on ideas and philosophies which are inconsistent with reality and inconsistent with natural law. They are wrong, and they will never be able to cure the condition. So under their care, which isn't really health care, it's disease management, you get sicker and weaker and 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 sicker and weaker. And that's one of the reasons why the hospitals are overwhelmed, because the population is sick and weak. And they always have been, and they always will be, as long as they continue to go to the MDs for care.
It's a big problem in the church too. I've seen brothers and sisters that are overweight, and they just implicitly trust their doctor. We've also seen God heal people on a regular basis. But the other thing too is that you've got to take care of your temple, right? You've got to look after it. And if you're taking advice from people that are not on the same page as you, let's put it that way, it's not going to end good. Dr. Glidden, you have over the years seen people recover from autoimmune disorder. You've seen people recover from type 2 diabetes. You've seen people recover from bone and joint pain. Working with you and just studying your material, and it's tricky because I live in Canada, and the disparity between the Canadian and US dollar, the things that you recommend that are the most effective. If let's say a healthy start pack for $140, by the time you order it here, it's almost $230 Canadian, and people's incomes are down. So I've had to become very good at figuring out how to do things another way. But the good news about that is I have seen people. We have a woman that listens to our show back in the day when we were on Mojo 50. She couldn't get out of bed to go to work, and she heard you on our show. So what she did was she just went and looked at your bad food list on YouTube. She started following it, and all the pain left her body just by dropping certain food out of her diet. She went to the doctor to find out what she could do about this so she could get out of this pain, that horrendous pain she was in. You know what the doctor, she asked the doctor, why is this happening to me? You know what the doctor said? Because you're a skinny white woman. That's why. I'm serious. That was the answer. But like, even just following that 12 bad food list, I've seen people recover.
Yeah,
My mom,
the other thing, well, number one, most people wouldn't believe the things that myself and my colleagues have seen people recover from. I mean, it would be easier for me to list the things I haven't seen people recover from than the things that I have seen people recover from. Why is this? Because the human body is inhabited by a spiritual intelligence. You can call it whatever you want. Different religions have different names for it, but there it is. There is an indwelling spiritual intelligence which is inhabiting our bodies, which persists after the body dies. And that energy is intelligent. And therefore, the human body, by virtue of spiritual divine intelligence, knows how to fix itself. It wants to fix itself. It's trying to fix itself all the freaking time, but it needs help. I mean, if you go out, in Calgary in December and it's sub-zero weather and you're shoveling your driveway, you're not going to do that in your bathing suit because the cold weather will kill you.
Yeah.
But if you bundle up, you can sleep on the ice if you want, right? So there are things that you need to do in order to help the body deal with the stress of life. And because the body knows how to fix itself and wants to fix itself and wants to be optimizing its structure and function all of the time. And your medical doctor number one, doesn't believe that. Number two, has no training in it. And my profession does. That's what we specialize in. And we wrote that book, by the way. So there are simple things that people can do, which are very inexpensive, in order to help their bodies be all that they can be. And the number one thing to do is to clean your diet up. We've identified 12 foods that nobody should look at, let alone eat. They're all listed on my website, and I have an explanation for all of them. They're all in my books. I have explanations for all of them. So you know why these foods are bad, not just because I said so. And you got to fill your body's nutritional tank up. Now, the good news is that the lion's share of your body's nutrient needs are minerals, things like calcium and sulfur and zinc and magnesium and selenium, right? Minerals. The mineral supplement is really inexpensive. It's like $22 US for one bottle. I don't know what that calculates to in Canadian money, but it's not that expensive. And just about everybody can afford that. That's what people need to do at a bare minimum, is take the minerals every day, 1 ounce of the minerals, stop eating food that's coming up the works. Period. Hard stop. If you just do those two things, you're going to go a long way towards helping your body to help itself. There's also the therapeutic application of water that you can do. It's called hydrotherapy. You can not eat for 36 hours every week, right? From 9 o'clock Friday night until 9 a.m. Sunday morning, don't eat. Drink fluids, drink juice, drink fresh squeezed juice, drink your minerals. Don't eat. Just doing that and taking your minerals every day and eliminating the 12 bad foods will probably add 5 or 7 years to your life and dramatically increase the quality of your life, because everybody is putting diesel fuel into an unleaded engine and they don't know that they're doing it by eating the wrong foods all of the time, which are gumming up the work. So there are inexpensive things that people can do, outside of the full Monty. And then again, this is not complicated. It doesn't need to break the bank, but you do need to learn about it. You do need to know what to do, the same way that, if you want to learn how to go fishing, you need someone to tell you how to do it. You want to learn how to swing a golf club, you need to have someone show you how to do it. I mean, you need to learn things. And, well, I'm your Huckleberry, and that's just my game. So let me help you to be all that you can be.
Yeah, the other problem too is that you got a whole lot of people out there that think they're doctors. Aunt May, she knows everything, and they give a lot of bad advice. And then people kind of run the gamut with that stuff they read on accident. That was me when I first met you. I was looking for a way to get my own health and my wife's back. And, I would see, take this, take this, take this. Pretty soon I had a cupboard full of stuff that I'd bought from the vitamin store, and I wasn't getting any good results. But I knew there was something in my heart of hearts. And that's when I went on to GCN's website and saw Fire Your MD Now with Dr. Peter Glidden. And I was like, this is interesting. And so the best thing about what you did back then and what you do, let me say, is with the way you explain things on your daily radio show, you gave us hope that you can actually do it. That I was addicted to your show. I was listening every day, and when we brought you up here to speak, it was fantastic. But take advice from somebody that's actually got the science down pat and the experience. Instead of I've seen people on X and Facebook recently putting up old videos of you talking about cancer and getting huge views. I'll go into the comments underneath it and say, hey, I know this man. Would you like to know about the rest of the body of his work? Nothing. You know what I mean? And so these are things that you can, we have a link to your website on americanhawkradio.com. Should we show people how to go there?
Sure.
Let's do that right now.
That's where the magic lies. That's where the education is. And this is one of the things, we have been socialized to believe that medicine is a complicated, difficult thing. And it's not. Surgery is. I wouldn't recommend, again, that you go to try to take an online course in surgery and buy a bunch of stuff at Google and then try to remove your son's appendix yourself. I would not do that. Surgery is complicated. You need education and training for that. But learning what to do to help the body fix itself, it's easy. Yep. You've been lied to that it's difficult. And you're right, Mike, that is one of my strengths, is that, I just make seemingly complicated medical things, I uncomplicate them because they're not complicated. You've been lied to that they're complicated. I just tell it to you like it is. And people go, oh my God, I didn't know it was that easy. Yeah, well, that's because Big Pharma doesn't want you to think it's that easy because it's not in their interest to make you healthy.
Yeah, it was the Jews.
Well, it's interesting because when you look at all of the the big medical movers in the world, the members of the World Health Organization, the members of the Food and Drug Administration, the members of the American Medical Association, the members of Health Canada, it's like over 99% Jewish.
Okay, we're not doing that here.
Well, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah,
right. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
That happened, and there's a reason that stuff is going on. But right, this is, people need to know what to do to help to get on the other side of a bad health condition, and it would perhaps behoove them to learn that information from an actual licensed physician with clinical experience than some Google health coach, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Madeline in High River. Yes, not the OsteoFX. He was talking about plant-derived minerals. I'll show you those on my website here. Let's go to americanhawkradio.com. There it is, americanhawkradio.com. If you go there, it's typed into the bottom panel underneath me here. Dr. Glidden, become the hero of your own health recovery with Dr. Glidden's online info. Click on that. And here you are. Now, look at what you get with this. You've got this landing page. Really good looking, by the way. Whoever did your website, good stuff. Go to the member section. You've got new content, health recovery protocols, medical insight, and a podcast, interviews, Q&A sessions. Let's go to health recovery protocols and just show people what they have access to. And by the way, we have a promo code that you can put in to get 50% off, which puts it at $30.
Wait a minute. I gave you 50% off. Is that what I did? Is that what I did? Were you? Was that after you gave me that case of tequila? Is that when I did that?
That was, you must have had a bad trip to Mexico, but Well, here we are. Dr.
50% off.
From the link on AmericanHuckRadio.com. You've got detox programs, addiction, acne, acid reflux and heartburn, ADHD, food allergies, seasonal allergies, cataracts, chronic fatigue, chronic kidney disease, hot flushes and menopause, hyperthyroid, PMS, poison ivy, Parkinson's disease, osteoporosis. And these are all webinars that you can watch where Dr. Glidden is going to show you how to get through these things. And they're fantastic, I got to tell you. Now, the other thing we have at AmericanHuckRadio.com is you can actually get the products that he recommends and that I've used for probably 15 years now by clicking on the store button. And let's go there right now. The Longevity Company has them. And if you have difficulty finding specific products, or if you want advice on what to get, then you can get a hold of me at AmericanHuckRadio@gmail.com. I used to host Dr. Glidden's radio show, and I'm very familiar with his methods. Now, I'm not a doctor, okay, and I don't know everything that he does, so I highly recommend that you get the membership, go and do a Q&A session with Dr. Glidden, and where you can give him the rundown. But I mean, if it's something where you've got a blood sugar disorder, I can, because I've known him as long as I have, I can easily show you how to get on the other side of that. But there can be extenuating circumstances where you need Dr. Glidden. And so promo code Mike at Dr. Glidden's website that you can get to through ours will give you 50% off. And Dr. Glidden is also the king of horrible jokes. So I'll just warn you right now.
So I do want to tell people that we've tracked over the last, 9.5, it's almost 10 years now, 10,000 people who've done the generic health recovery protocols. No private appointment necessary, just from the comfort of your own home. And there's an 83% success rate. Now, sometimes you need a private appointment. Sometimes you do. But most of the times you don't. And that was a very humbling, by the way, realization for yours truly. And it happened really pretty early in my career. I'm mentoring with Dr. Joel Wallach, who was really the author of our modern understanding of medical nutrition. The work that Wallach did it's in the Smithsonian Institute in the U.S. He literally wrote the book on medical nutrition and completely transformed our understanding of it. But I'm with Dr. Wallach in Kankakee, Illinois, and he's given a lecture. And it's the first time I've ever seen him give a lecture to the public. And as Wallach and myself and maybe 50 people, and they're all blue-collar, working-class people. I don't think any of them had more than a high school education. And person after person after person after person was standing up and giving testimonials. Like, my wife couldn't get pregnant for 10 years, and she started Wallach's protocol, and now we've got twins. Right? I've had type 2 diabetes for 10 years, and for the first time in my life, my blood sugars are normal. I've had insomnia for the last 5 years, and all of a sudden I'm sleeping through the night, and my doctor told me my kidneys are no longer failing, and that I'm no longer a candidate for dialysis, and my doctor told me that my knees are getting better and that I don't need a knee replacement surgery. My freaking head exploded. Because all these people did it not in the context of a private appointment. It was just by learning what to do to help the body help itself. And again, my head exploded because every single doctor is taught you need you got to have a private appointment. You got to have a private appointment. You got to have a private appointment. That's the whole thing. And guess what? It's not the whole thing. And so this is honest to God. We don't have the answers for everything, folks. But we've got the answers to a lot of things. These therapeutics are science-based and clinically verified, and you should run them up the flagpole and see if they fly, because they're very, very, very effective. And Mike was right. You should have been taught this stuff in grade school.
The big aha moment for me, I had been listening to your radio show for a long time. And then when I finally pulled the trigger and ordered some of the things that you were recommending, and just started following your bad food protocol. What happened to me was I was out in the yard cutting the grass one day in a big cloud of dust and grass clippings, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't have to run in the house and get a Claritin.
Yeah.
Like, I had allergies that just about killed me my whole life, and all of a sudden, the same thing that I had to do every year for 35 years, I didn't have to do it. It was like the jail cell door opened. It was amazing.
Well,
And
again, my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. You just didn't know what you didn't know, and your medical doctor didn't know either.
yeah,
And then you get access to that information and you apply it, and it's like a hallelujah.
yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. No kidding.
We got a testimonial in the Rumble chat here. Bob in Pittsburgh says, just following the 12 bad foods and the nutritional supplement protocol completely solved my joint inflammation and pain. And Bob's like a weightlifter and a marathon runner. And so and he's really old. I'm just kidding, Bob.
I love my job, man. What can I say? And that's the other thing that we get. I mean, we're compiling right now, and I don't know. This keeps getting pushed back because I'm not 100% in charge of this. We're compiling we've got thousands of testimonials that we're compiling and we're going to make available to the public because, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. And I encourage people just to try it, slam these doors and kick these tires and take this baby for a ride, because the chances are high you're going to love how you feel.
He's 52 yesterday. He's 1 year older than me. I said that we could take some questions. I've got a few that people have been sending in to me, just to show people what you can do.
Yeah, let's go. I'm all in.
Okay, Amanda in British Columbia has sent this. Hello, my grandmother has pemphigoid bullous. They have her on prednisone, which we all know is bad. I suggested the use of colloidal silver. Anything else Dr. Glidden might suggest, I will graciously accept. So, pemphigoid bullous, I don't even know what that is. I think she's got
it's pemphigoid, Pemphigoid. She probably spelled it wrong. So let me tell you about this. The medical doctors think it's an autoimmune skin condition that causes large fluid-filled blisters. The medical doctors would have you believe that you went to bed perfectly healthy on Monday and that you woke up on Tuesday and overnight, for no reason whatsoever, must have been a bad gene, because it couldn't be the doctor's lack of understanding. Your immune system decided to attack itself. And it's nonsense, right? But this is what passes for the best, brightest medical minds in the world. It's ridiculous. And so, there are two scapegoats that the medical doctors use all the time. Number one, it's genetic. And number two, it's autoimmune. These two things explain away their misunderstanding, their juvenile understanding of how the human body works. So the first thing to consider with any skin condition is simply that the skin has run out of the nutrients that it needs to keep itself healthy. I mean, if your car needs, 10 liters of oil, but it's only got 2, the engine's going to seize. If the tires need 32 pounds of air, but they've only got 10, they're going to roll off the rim. Nothing wrong with the tires. Nothing wrong with the engine. The engine ran out of oil. The tires didn't have enough air. It's the same with the human body. The first thing to consider with something like this, it's a simple nutrient deficiency disease. And regretfully, tragically, ironically, your mother is probably unwittingly eating food on a regular basis that's causing inflammation and that's making it hard for the body to bounce back. So what is the situation? What's the solution? Number one, we eliminate the 12 bad foods. That's mandatory. I don't care if it's hard to do, just shut up and do it, right? These things are hurting your mother. Have her stop eating them, period, hard stop. Number two, if you can afford it, you do 1 healthy foundation pack per month and 1 extra bottle of EFAs, essential fatty acids. So I want your mother to be swallowing 12 EFAs a day, 12 EFAs a day. Now, if she can't afford the stuff that we recommend, and by the way, I don't make any money from the sale of these supplements, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say it again. I don't make any money from the sale of these supplements. I've divorced myself from that revenue stream. I recommend these nutritional supplements because they're the most effective ones I've seen in 37 years of clinical work. Somebody has to be number one. The company that makes these supplements is number one because the formulations are extremely effective clinically, and that makes a difference. So if you can't afford the full Healthy Foundation pack plus extra EFAs, then go to Costco or go someplace, get a fish oil supplement that you can't afford, and have your mother swallow 12 a day, 4 with breakfast, 4 with lunch, 4 with dinner, and get the plant-derived minerals from Longevity, the plant-derived minerals. 2 bottles a month would be optimal. 1 capful twice a day, 1 capful twice a day. There's also a homeopathic medicine that she can get. It's called Hepar sulfuris, HEPAR, second word sulfuris, SULPHURIS, Hepar sulfuris calcarea. It's a long word. I'm sorry, it's Latin. Hepar sulfuris calcarea 12C. Hepar sulfuris calcarea 12C. C like Charlie. This is going to be dispensed in a small vial with about 100 little white medicated pellets in it. Have your mother take 2 of those 3 times a day until the vial's empty. 2 orally 3 times a day until the vial's empty. Do those things and see if she bounces back. Now remember, we don't treat disease because diseases don't exist. I mean, people think that a disease is like a parrot that sits on your shoulder, and it's the doctor's job to develop a bullet that's going to kill the parrot, and that's not the way that it is. You can't treat a disease because a disease is a name, right? Can you please bring me 25 pounds of bullous pemphigoid? How about a baker's dozen of depression? Can you bring me that? No, you can't do it because these things don't exist. People exist. People who have symptoms exist. And we treat the person, not the disease. So when your mother is engaging these therapeutics, she wants to look to see how it affects her across the board. Not just the skin symptom, but everything else, because everything's connected. That's why it's called holistic medicine. Her mood, her energy, her appetite, her sleep, everything. You want to look to see how this protocol affects everything because the chances are high that it will. That's how I would handle that, and I would have her fire her medical doctor immediately.
And to get your hands on the things that Dr. Glidden's talking about and find out about pricing and stuff like that, get a hold of me. I'll take you through the website and show you a way that you can save a few dollars on it too, which in this economy ain't not bad. We have another question from a listener in Alabama. We have a friend overseas who is going through hot flashes, and her doctor put her on low-dose estrogen hormone therapy. What would you recommend instead? We've heard that hormone therapy is linked to breast cancer, Dr. Glidden.
It is. It's the medical. So first of all, menopause is not a freaking disease. It's a time of life. It doesn't need to be treated. Puberty doesn't need to be treated, right? It's a transition. Now, here's the deal. If this is how many nutrients your body needs, but this is how many nutrients it has, and you're eating food every day that's gumming up the works, when you then enter into menopause, you're going to be symptomatic for a long time because your body's it's just like going outside in cold weather in your bathing suit to shovel your driveway. It's not going to go well for you. And it's not because you're in the cold air. It's because you're not bundled up. It's not because you're in menopause. It's because you're undernutrified. And you're eating food all the time that's hurting you, and you didn't even know that that was happening, but it's happening, so knock it off. Not your fault, by the way. So, and here's a news flash. In the 60s in this country, in the United States and in Canada, medical doctors came up with a brilliant idea. They saw that lots of women were suffering from mood swings and hot flushes of menopause for a long time, and they thought that they'd do something about it, so here's what they did. They created a drug made from 2 parts horse hormone and 1 part human hormone. Let me say that again. 2 parts horse hormone, 1 part human hormone. Yeah, that's right, Mike. They called it Premarin. because the horse hormones were extracted from the urine of pregnant mares. Premarin, pregnant mare, right? Freaking horse hormone. Okay, let's give that to healthy American women. 2 parts horse hormone, 1 part human hormone. What could possibly go wrong? Well, you know what possibly went wrong? Breast cancer. The first cure of breast cancer I ever had in my career, and I've been lucky to do that a number of times. I have a number of cancer cures under my belt, by the way. I also have a number of cancer failures under my belt, by the way. It's not the easiest thing in the world to treat. Let me be clear about that. But the first cancer cure I ever took part in, well, I just had a woman, she was in her 60s, mid-60s. She had fibrocystic breasts and breast cancer. I took her off of the Premarin. I gave her the medical nutrition program with extra antioxidants, and it all went away. It went away, everything. The fibrocystic tissue in the breast and the tumor, it disappeared. And her doctor, who diagnosed it, his office was 2 blocks from my office. And when she went back to him and she was cured and they did the x-ray and he couldn't freaking believe it, you think he would have called me up? You think he would have canceled all his patients and walked down to my office and say, what the hell? Never happened. I'm still waiting for that phone call, right? Never happened. And, you know, that's just a tragedy. And it speaks to cognitive dissonance that's built into the peanut-sized brains of most medical doctors. But that's another story completely. So, no, you don't. It's hormone supplementation is a really stupid idea. It's a bad idea. The only women who are candidates for hormone supplementation are women who are in their childbearing years who've had their uterus or their ovaries surgically removed. And if those women are going to do hormone therapy, it should be bioidentical hormone therapy, not synthetic crap like Premarin. So, what are your hormones made from? They're made from cholesterol. That's what your hormones are made from, cholesterol. So if your wife is on a statin drug, which lowers cholesterol, and by the way, newsflash, there's no relationship between high cholesterol and heart disease. Let me say it again. There is no relationship between high cholesterol and heart disease. You've been lied to on purpose. When you dry up cholesterol with statin drugs, your sex hormones dry up because all your sex hormones are made from cholesterol. And oh, guess what else dries up? Your brain. 75% of the part of the brain that's affected by Alzheimer's is made from cholesterol. And if you put on a graph the introduction of statin drugs and the appearance of Alzheimer's, they model each other almost exactly. A correlation doesn't go to causation unless, of course, it does. So myself and a handful of my colleagues are of the belief that Alzheimer's is a physician-created disease due to statin drugs and fat-free diets. Do not be afraid of cholesterol. So if your wife's taking a statin drug, she needs to stop it immediately. She needs to fill her nutritional tank up all the way with the Healthy Foundation Pack every day. She needs to eat a diet high in cholesterol. And there's an herbal supplement in an encapsulated form called the Woman's Female Hormone Support Formula. The Woman's Female Hormone Support Formula. Get a bottle of that. Have her take forward, I think it's 6 a day, 3 twice a day. And just follow that program until she's better. And fire your medical doctor immediately because they don't know anything about this. And if you follow their advice, they will hurt you.
Is that the female support, for female hormone support, is that Good Herbs?
No, it's a different one. I don't like that for hot flushes and menopausal things. I like it for other things. I think it's called Woman's Hormone Support. It's an encapsulate. It's a capsule.
Is it a longevity product?
100%.
I'll be able to find it. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, and the other thing that we've seen, Dr. Glidden, and I've seen this, is women that actually went into an early menopause because they were nutritionally deficient and then get nutrified and go back out of it and start getting their cycle again. We've seen that.
Yeah, and the same thing with infertility. The main reason that women can't get pregnant is because here's how many nutrients their body needs. Here's how many nutrients their body has. And their body has wisdom. So the body knows that if it gets pregnant, it's not going to have enough nutrients to keep the fetus alive. And so it doesn't want to get pregnant. And so you fill the nutritional tank up, stop eating food that's coming up the works, and voila, women get pregnant like that. Dr. Wallach was funny. He was tongue in cheek, and he would say things to, make people think. He said, "I've gotten more women pregnant than any other doctor in the world."
Well, and
Right?
the other thing too is that you can have without being properly nutrified, you run the risk of having a baby with deformities because you don't have the building blocks to build that child. I mean, that's why women get cravings while they're pregnant. We've heard of women eating dirt while they were pregnant. We've heard of because their body, you need minerals to build the baby inside of you. And so, like, try to build a house without any lumber and nails or concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like, and no, this is, I mean, it's a thing.
You're a good student, Mike, and you're exactly 100% correct. And this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you're smart enough to pass the driver's license test, you're smart enough to learn this because it's not complicated. And it makes sense, which is the other thing. And it produces results, which is another thing. And when you've experienced the truth, you're in its velvet grasp forever. There's no going back. You can't unsee this. You can't unlearn this because it's true. So it's remarkably effective, wonderful stuff. Again, just to be clear, this is not a cure-all for all human ailments. It's not. And, I keep a list of the things that I haven't been able to help people recover from just to keep me studying, right? Because the only reason that this fails is because the doctor didn't have enough understanding to make it work. Is it because all of these therapeutics are built on natural law, which is like aerodynamics, right? There's ways to fly the plane and to make it do loop-de-loops and barrel rolls and be safe if you know what you're doing. And there's ways to crash the plane. When we can't effect a cure in people, we've effectively crashed the plane. It's not the patient's fault, it's the doctor's fault. But my point is that these therapeutics are outstanding in their ability to support the body's built-in God-given ability to fix itself. And you should, again, kick these tires and slam these doors and take this baby for a ride because you don't know what you're missing, honest to God.
We're at the end of our hour. Dr. Glidden's a busy guy. He's got a stacked schedule. Dr. Glidden, do you have time for one more quick question, and then I can let you go, and then I'll show everybody where to go and how to get it and contact me with this?
No such thing as a quick question, but I'm game. Let's go.
Melanoma, skin cancer.
Yeah. So here's what you want to do for melanoma. You want to eliminate the 12 bad foods. Remember, we don't treat cancer. That's illegal, by the way. That's a whole nother conversation. It's illegal to treat cancer. Did you know that? Unless you're an oncologist. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So we don't treat cancer. We don't treat disease. And that's not I'm not using, funny verbiage to worm my way out of a legal thing. It's the truth. You can't treat cancer. It doesn't exist. You can treat a person who's been told they have cancer. That's a whole different situation. And I could have identical triplets, by the way. They could all have strep throat. They could have given it each to the other, and they would each need 3 different treatments to recover from it. Because we don't treat the disease, we treat the person. So what do? Well, we optimize the structure and function of the human body with the Healthy Foundation Pack. I would do 2 bottles of selenium for 1 month. I would do 2 selenium 3 times a day between meals for 4 weeks. And then I would do 1 selenium 3 times a day between meals for 4 weeks. And then I would do 1 selenium 2 times a day between meals for the rest of my life on top of the Healthy Foundation Pack. And you want to get one of those little 1.5 volt, wafer thin watch batteries, or the car fob batteries. You know what I'm talking about? They're about the size of a dime. You want to get one of those, but 1.5 volts, more or less. And you want to put the negative pole, the negative side of the battery on top of the lesion. Tape it down. Take the negative side of the battery and tape it to the skin lesion. All right. Now, and just leave it there. At some point in time, that's going to make the skin lesion start to itch and become uncomfortable, and it may even start to bleed. When that happens, you take the battery off. You put colloidal silver. You spray colloidal silver on it, and calendula cream. Get calendula cream from a good herbal company. My favorite is Herb Farm, HERBPHARM, for calendula cream. So you spray the colloidal silver, and then you put the calendula cream on it. Leave that on for a couple of hours, and then put the battery back. And then you just keep doing that. And eventually, the melanoma is gonna just, it'll start to remove itself from the skin. You can pick it off, or you can pull it off, or it'll just fall off. If that hasn't affected a positive response after 21 days, then it's not going to affect a positive response, and we need to do something else. But that's the first thing to attempt.
I've never heard you say put a battery on a lesion before. That's a new one. Dr. Glidden, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll get you back in the near future.
Let's do this once a week, Mike. I'm all in. Let's go, man, because look, everybody needs to know this. Nobody does. And I'm happy to help, because I can't not do this. I mean, I can't not do this. And there's like the fella said, I mean, one of my favorite quotes was quoted to me by one of my mentors in naturopathic medicine years ago. And here it is. It's, for those who know the truth, no explanation is necessary. And for those who don't, no explanation will suffice. So I've seen the truth of natural law as it applies to medicine and human health, and I can't unsee that. And everybody in the world needs to know this, right? And they don't. And so I'm all in, man. As much as I can help, I'm all in. It's a pleasure seeing you again. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you in the future.
Thanks for joining us today, Dr. Glidden. Now, if anybody wants to try out these therapeutics that Dr. Glidden has talked about today, then we can definitely hook you up. If you want to get a hold of me at americanuckradio@gmail.com, that's americanuckradio@gmail.com. I worked with Dr. Glidden for 15 years. I used to host his radio show on Genesis Communications Network. That's back when Alex Jones and all those guys were with GCN before he went off on his own. And I have literally, I've seen people recover from stuff that you're not supposed to. And it'll cost you, but being sick costs you more. Amen. If you could get out of bone and joint pain, if you could get more energy, if you could sleep during the night, if you could get your blood sugar in order. Amanda's grandma, she's got sores all over her legs, and it's causing her pain, obviously, and they don't know how to deal with it except throwing prednisone at it. Try Dr. Glidden's methods. Try going non-drug and surgery. I'd be so happy to help you out with that. Go to americanuckradio.com.